Okay, now we discuss how to bring the Almighty into your life using the religious method. When I hear conversations from people who say that they know that the Almighty doesn't exist, I get very concerned, because as a scientist, I know that you cannot prove it one way or another that the Almighty exists. So for you to say that you know, where's your scientific basis? Yeah, because if you use science tells you the best answer is I don't know. Okay, so you can't say that you know that the Almighty doesn't exist when you have no scientific evidence to prove your position. Just like we can't say that we know that the Almighty exists because science tells us we don't know. So the burden of proof is on both sides. You're on the same side of the coin. Not heads, not tails, but the thick side. We're both thick. No. So the burden of proof is on once you say you know that the Almighty doesn't exist, you're gonna need to provide proof that He doesn't exist. If you can't, then you have a belief, faith. You have faith that He doesn't exist. So atheists and theists tend to have faith, both of them. So, but anyway, back to how to bring the Almighty into your life. Now, we've all heard of the placebo effect, yeah, where your mind heals your body without knowing the technical jargon, without knowing medicine in the way we know it. So you could have an illness, but you can convince yourself that you're getting better, and you get better. So how does your body heal you when you're sick, when it doesn't know medicine? Is that a magic trick? Why does that happen? Yeah. So when your body does not know, yeah, it knows how to heal itself. So what's that about? That's the religious method. Science is now using the religious method to allow an electron to exist in both states that you call a qubit. Or is it 4 states? I think the qubit has 4 states. Where it's up spin, down spin, both or neither. So to allow a qubit to exist, you have to accept that you're not going to know, yeah, in order for it to exist. By not knowing, you allow it to be in 4 states. It's the same thing with the Almighty. By not knowing, you allow Him to be everywhere at the same time. But you're somewhere. If He's everywhere, that includes where you are. So to allow to not know, just like you try not to measure what an electron's spin is, for example, so that you can allow it to have all the spins at the same time. You try not to know the Almighty, to allow Him to be everywhere, including where you are, including in you, at the same time. That's how you invite the Almighty into your life. Yeah? By choosing not to know with the aim of having the Almighty in your life. You choose not to know to receive the Almighty. So the concept of faith is very, very complicated. And scientists would say we have faith that a qubit is in these 4 states. We have faith, yeah, because we can measure it, and all 4 states can exhibit themselves at different times. But in order to make the qubit, you have to not measure it, not know. Yeah? So those of us who receive miracles, we know the Almighty exists, and the best way to prove, to allow Him to exist, or to not to receive him into your existence is to not know of his existence. Yeah. So it's hard to find the Almighty at a fixed point, because you have to not know and then receive your miracle. Yeah. And but when you're receiving your miracle, the Almighty is actually, he becomes you to heal you. So when the Almighty is in you, you don't know of yourself. The Almighty knows of himself. After he's gone, you have evidence that you've been healed. Yeah, it's like the placebo effect. It's a bit like that. Yeah, but since no one can prove what's happening when the placebo effect is taking place, it's the same way you cannot prove that the Almighty exists or doesn't exist. The burden of proof is on both sides. Those of you who know he doesn't exist, give us evidence. Those of you who know that he exists, give us evidence. Those of you who are using the religious method properly, yeah, you don't have any burden of proof. My method is to not know he exists, to allow him into my existence.